Well, I think this was originally maybe a question you had, but I'm bringing it to you. Are influencers dead?
I wish they were. Hi, I'm a wacky inflatable salesman at the side of the road, Phoebe.
And I'm Jacques.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering. Oh my God, what color are you? I think that's so important. The inflatable, you know? What color are you? Are you orange?
That's like just my new favorite thing to do.
I know. We've
But
moved
I think
on.
I'm gonna like really give
have
myself
a new
bad
thing
wrinkles.
Oh yeah.
What?
Well, we've retired Slay.
No,
Slay is
I need to stop. It's like so fucking embarrassing how often I say it, but I love it. So,
and we're bringing in this like new thing that you do where you're like, yes, Slay.
Like, it just makes me think of that's so. It makes me think of like curatorial students. I don't know if you had a curatorial program at your liberal arts college at all, but oh my God! And if you were a curatorial student, respectfully, you're one of the most annoying people I've ever met. It's not even curators.
No, it's the students.
Curatorial student.
Yeah.
You're 20. Okay, Victoria, you're 20.
You're 20.
What do you know about curating? Yeah, art school, baby. Uh-oh, what happened? There we go. I was going to apologize for being late for listening to Jeff Buckley. I didn't see your message, though. Now I don't feel so bad.
No, it's crazy.
I was seeing lilac wine so damn loud. Whole day over here right now.
You're having an entire day. Oh, wow. Are you crying?
Yeah. Okay. My eyelid has been twitching for 3 days.
Oh my God. Same.
Has yours been too?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, clearly I'm not drinking enough water or something, but then I like drink a lot of water.
Yeah, it's this one. I think
it's this one for me too.
Barb did something. Barb at
Stewart's. Barb, if you're listening, if Barb from Cairo, New York. If you are listening, you gave us COVID. I'm still I'm fine. I don't feel bad, but you gave me something.
You gave us something. You got way too close at the Stewart's gas station.
Yeah.
You gave us something.
What's up? What's up, dog? We just spend so much time together. An ungodly amount of time together.
Yes. For two people that don't want to spend any time with anyone at all, let alone each other. It was a lot.
It was a lot.
But
it was great. It was just like, it was crazy.
I came back and just decided to go like full like down the rabbit hole. And I've been rewatching Killing Eve.
Hell yeah.
And like,
hell yeah.
I love this show. That show is so smart.
My rewatch I just did like a couple of weeks ago. It took me like 2 weeks. Like tops.
Oh wow. Whoa.
I love that show. I fucking love that show. Yeah, I love television.
Yeah. Oh,
Strap
I know.
me the fuck in.
I know you do.
Let's ride.
I've been doing that thing where I've been trying to find like the episode scripts and I've been putting them next to while I watch it like a real freak.
Nerd.
And I just think, I don't know, I'm like learning a lot. That show is so smart. The writing is so smart. It's like, it's like this wackadoo and
Emerald
insane
Fennell
thing.
directed and I think wrote some episodes as well.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
You know what? Actually, not confident in saying that all of the sudden.
Okay. Well,
is now. I don't even care to fact check it.
That happened. Everything is everything. I love it. Yeah, I've been doing that since we got back from the woods, which is like really a choice. I go to bed at night thinking of like murder scenes and like I
It's
can't
so
sleep.
good. You can't sleep. That's right. You're such a sensitive soul that way.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you don't like scary things.
No, I don't like scary things. But like Killing Eve isn't really scary to me.
No, I don't think so either.
It's just like a little gory, you know? It's not really scary.
No, it's like
Anyways,
I love it.
what
Every single fucking outfit that Jodie wears. And you know what? Unpaid actress Sandra Oh's hair.
on
Sandra
okay,
Oh's hair.
Sandra Oh's hair. I feel like, in acting school they have all the it's like what's going to be your thing? You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? And it's like Sandra just like was blessed with this hair, you know? She
Yeah.
didn't have to find a
Well,
thing.
and
She's got the hair.
I spend an ungodly amount of time just like clocking wigs while watching television. Like
Yeah.
it's my passion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think Jodie or Sandra, well, Sandra certainly isn't, but I don't think either of them have wigs on in that show, which is such a production choice, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
That's
like the
expensive.
only Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think the only way that you could have Jodie's character, right, like turn into all the other characters and use the wigs that way, right, is if she
Oh,
has
I
her
had
own
not thought about
hair.
it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it just looks like normal person hair. Even on like, I can't remember what, like, whatever. I don't care.
Wigs.
I'm bored.
I'm
I'm
bored.
bored of
Moving
what
on.
I'm saying all of a
What have
sudden.
you been doing since we got back?
What have
How's
I
the
been
vibe?
doing?
What's happening?
I've been in Toronto. I've been writing a lot. I've been doing this solo performance workshop, and our showcase is coming up, so I got to work on that. And then I'm doing, you know what I'm doing? I haven't even told you this yet. I am doing a stand-up set on, I don't think it's this weekend. I think it's next weekend. So yeah, I've just been like writing bits. And it's
Mm.
really funny writing bits because I can only write bits right now. Like I can only kind of think in like 5-minute increments.
Yeah.
Like
It
not
like ruins
full
your brain.
structure. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
I thought like, what is publishing an essay, every week kind of do in my brain, like 1,000 to 2,000 words. I definitely already think in the short form, but now I'm thinking like I can't even write anymore because I'm like, we were talking about this the other day, like memorizing stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't even bother writing full sentences because I just know I'm not going to remember full sentences, and
Yeah.
like writing dialogue. You sound like a kukkalini person when you actually speak. Anyway, all this stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been working on.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see your stand-up set.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, what am I doing? I've been trying to work on this bit about Metamucil right now, and it's so not funny. But it just makes me giggle so much.
That's funny.
And I can't decide if it's like meta funny enough to keep it. Because I
Mm.
just think, I'm like, it's so dumb. It's just about pee pee poo poo. But I think it's hilarious. So that's what I've been up to.
Great.
I have my Walter Pine candle out.
Mm.
It smells so fucking good in here. It's crazy. Shout out to
Shout
Walter
out Walter
Pine.
Pine.
Shout out Walter Pine. Not a sponsor. I just love that shop. This candle, listener, I want to die. I love this smell so bad. It's called Garden Mint.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have yours?
No,
You burnt it?
I burnt it.
Wow, you really went through that. You should have gotten one. What? You were the one that wanted to record the podcast in the morning. Okay, I don't know what's going on up here.
Okay, no, I just think it's so funny, that idea of like I burnt it.
You burnt it.
Yeah, but
what-
it's burnt. But I did keep, what's great? It's like when you get a beautiful candle and you want to keep like the jar, you know?
Yeah, it's the jar sleigh.
Yeah, I put things in it. It's great.
Kill me.
I know. You're like,
It was like jar sleigh. Shout out
to
Walter Pine.
yes, for contributing to the goodie bags for
Yeah.
Clouds Outside. That was
Yeah.
so nice.
What's
The cloud spotting book.
Cloud spotting book, yeah.
I know. So
Ugh,
nice.
retreat.
And the pens.
The
Really
pen.
lovely
Okay,
pens.
I was upset that we didn't get a pen.
I'm like, do you want this bag? You're like, no, I want a pen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my love language. Anyway.
Anyway, we're going to share at some point about the incredible experience of going on retreat with artists.
Yeah, I can't even talk about it right now, actually, because
Still
it pisses me off
processing.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
Also that's why I just have to sniff my garden mint. Wait, I don't even think I told the people what garden mint is.
Oh, please.
It smells like tomato skins
Mm.
and eucalyptus.
Mm.
Like it's fresh and earthy.
It's a
And I
really
want
good
like a
smelling candle.
perfume or something of it. Like I want to smell like that.
Oh, couldn't you just like garden?
Ugh. Ugh. Soil. Actually, I walked by a woman today. I've been having a great time in my life the last couple of days. You know, I'm saying
Great.
hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Which is really funny when you're at a gas station in upstate New York somewhere and you like walk in, you're like, hello.
Phoebe, what have I told you? Stop talking to people in the United States. Stop saying hi. Stop looking at people. Stop being friendly.
I know.
Stare at your shoes and enter and exit a facility
No,
or a
but
building.
I think I make everyone's day better when I show up. Like I was at this gas station and I have to go in to pay at the gas station. Why are they collecting zip codes? Huh? What you fucking need that for?
I don't know.
I don't like
know.
that.
No.
I'm a libertarian. Anyway. I go in and I'm like, I don't have one of those. So I need to pay you in a different way. And they're like, oh my God, of course you do. And I'm like, right? Isn't that so silly? Because I'm not from here. And then I'm like, Bev, I met a Bev at the gas station
Barb.
next Fantasy Island.
Bev.
Yeah, these women don't need to tell me what your names are. I know your name's Barb and Bev, okay?
Yeah.
Diner names. So anyway, what was I saying?
Oh, you were walking by someone. I was like, you should garden. And then you were like, oh, I was walking by.
Oh, I was walking by someone. You know what? I think I'm extra crazy today. It's because I'm lying down. I'm in my bedroom.
I know. I've never. What is this choice of the pod in the bedroom?
Well, because Simon is home.
I hate these boys being in my home.
I know. He's in my fucking house. And so he was like, I'll leave. And I was like, I'll leave. So now I'm holding a microphone, laying down. I've got the laptop on my big box of vibrators.
You have very interesting boundaries around the bed that I find funny.
Yeah, the bed's sacred.
And then you're laying in here doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
With my Walter Pine garden.
With your Walter Pine garden mint
candle. We're gonna have to cut all of this. Like, what have we been talking about? I'm crying again. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Who did you pass walking?
So I was out walking the streets and I was saying hello to everybody.
Yeah.
And it smelled amazing all of a sudden. I walk by this woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, are you digging up lavender? And she was like, yeah, it's a bit woody. And I was like, it smells amazing. And she was not interested in having a conversation with me at all. But I said, too bad, because I love these scents. And I went, it smells so lovely out. And it was garbage day as well. It's garbage day today as well. And I was like, what a refreshing take on garbage day to kind of, share your scents with the community. She turned around and went back to digging up her lavender and rosemary. But I was just like, ugh. The sense of the earth. So I guess theoretically I could become one of these women, but I don't have time. Who has time?
No.
Not
garden? Me. Not me.
The garden?
No idea.
Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Yes, let's get to the question. Also, I've been listening to way too much Grandmam. That's the entire reason I just said that.
Do we want to actually talk about that real quick?
About how much we are like PJ and Kevin?
Sure. To a fucked up degree, and it kind of wigs me out.
It really wigs me out.
Funny podcast. False. Irish, gay man, you and I.
Yes.
To a weird degree.
To a very weird degree. The
format of the podcast, I'm like, this is weird.
The format, the things they fight about, the things that clearly one person is in charge of and the other person is in charge of.
And the other
Like,
person does not care about.
like the things that like one personality brings and the other personality. It's creepy.
It's weird.
Weird.
It's weird.
Very weird.
You're PJ.
Yes.
I'm Kevin.
You are 1,000% Kevin. The most recent reel that they put up, I was like dying. I was like, this is so Phoebe. Or no, I think it was like 1 or 2 ago of like the ad of like the coffee shop
coffee ad,
thing.
yeah.
And I've called you and you're like sunbathing in a beast.
A beefa?
Trying to keep you on the phone to talk about work and you're like, peace, run, no.
I would literally love to go to Ibiza.
No, I know.
I would literally love it. Sounds like a slay time. I mean, this is what I say when I say I want to be a gay man. Like, being a woman fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I want to just run around town like a gay man.
Yeah.
So anyway,
what are these
we have
noises?
ghosts. We have ghosts in the podcast recording with us today.
I think
I don't hear it.
What?
I don't hear it. But earlier, Jacqueline thought she heard footsteps on my end, but I thought it was on her end. I don't like that.
Ghosts.
What are we talking about?
Well, I think this was originally maybe a question you had, but I'm bringing it to you. Are influencers dead?
I wish they were.
To bring it all the way around to Killing Eve. Die influencers.
I don't think so, but I think people have had a real enough of that. Real enough of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your like relationship to influencers right now?
I can't tell. Like, I think this is true of a lot of folks. Like, the line has become so blurred.
Yeah.
And like, I can't tell as like a user of a social media app when someone is influencing me.
Yeah.
And when it's just their life. And I think like that is scary for a lot of reasons. But also at the same time, it's kind of what it always was before like getting paid for content. I don't know.
I think media literacy of this has really changed.
Yeah.
Because I mean, did it used to be more obvious? I don't think so. I actually don't think so, because I remember not that long ago when it became legal to disclose, right? For a really long time. Well, I guess, okay, what we're talking about is influencers on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that concept has been around for a long time.
Yes.
Isn't the word Shakespearean?
Yes.
Specifically?
Yes, it is Shakespearean.
Isn't it super fun that I know that?
Yeah, it is fun. Versions of like of influencing has been, around forever and ever and ever and ever. Like using someone's likeness to sell a product, right? Is like been around forever and ever. And like, everyone talks about like the first recorded like celebrity influencing moment was when Michael Jordan, got a contract with Nike.
Oh.
And that is like that's kind of like the shift of like, oh, celebrities can now have brand deals. Like a brand deal didn't really exist with an individual before that happened. Or like that's like what everybody kind of like, I don't know, signifies as like the.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
It's like the change.
What was that? 80 something, 90 something then?
Yeah. Speaking of that, everyone should go watch that movie just because Viola Davis is in it and plays Michael Jordan's mother. I think it's called Air. Go watch it.
This is actually just a Viola Davis podcast.
Even if you don't watch the whole movie and just watch the scenes with Viola Davis.
You know what? Probably we'll do that.
Yeah,
I don't really care. There's like
Damon,
a lot of shit that I don't care about until I see Viola Davis and I'm like, I'm there.
Exactly.
Sign me up.
Sign you up. So anyways, it's been happening, influencing has been going on for a long time. Like, I don't know, we can even talk about, right, like ladies of the court, right? Like wearing certain designers or dresses or wigs or whatever, right? And like not paying for them, but wearing them in order to be seen.
Yeah.
And then, that increases sales for that, artisan or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's been this idea has been around forever. I think like the introduction of technology and it being in our hands every day is like what makes it scary,
Yeah.
confusing.
It was probably Chelsea Fagan that was saying this because I love that queen. But talking about like the amount of crap accumulated in influencers' houses that while maybe they initially disclosed that they
Yeah.
were given this thing, but like now it's in the background. And so you see that like everybody has the always pan. And like that might not actually be, you know what I mean? Like the kind
Mhm.
of cost per use of influencing is like so high.
Yes.
I saw somebody I saw on YouTube recently, someone who's been following for a long time. Oh my God. Her name's Hannah something. She used to be a sex like educator, researcher.
Mm. Mhm.
I can't think of her name. Anyway, I'll link it below. But she went through her house and she talked about stuff that she's been sent. And she's like, here's what I actually use.
Wow,
And
that's
here's what's
smart.
stuck around. And I think
Yeah.
that's what's really interesting, right? It's like not just like a one-time ad. It's like, oh, here's me and my toothbrush that I use all of the time. And I get my toothbrush sent to me like I have a new toothbrush being sent to me all of the time kind of thing.
Mm.
But I only had to disclose it one time. So like
Mm.
even I think like our like what we're looking at, we don't even see
Yeah.
as influence
Yeah.
a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I had like a funny moment with this because when we were looking for retreat sponsors, where I had this moment where of like being sent all of this stuff
Right.
that I have, we deal with this in like like beyond micro, like tiny, 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 tiny. I think like people classify micro influencers as something like between like 20 and 50,000 followers or something like that.
Mm.
I'm like, that's insane. That's insane that that's micro, right?
That's funny because I've seen, and this is exactly like the elusiveness of this stuff, right? Is like
Yeah.
I've seen way lower than that. Like
Oh,
1,000
really?
is to 100,000, which is like,
That's insane. That's
what
an
does that
insane
even mean?
range. You would not do that with any other metric, but
No.
anyway.
Anyways.
But like I think you and I interface with this in a really small way. And I had this moment the other day when I was cleaning up the studio of like all this stuff that I've been sent.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I don't want this. And it's
Yeah.
wasteful.
Yeah. This is fun. This is
It's a bit
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. This is interesting. What I saw something recently, and again, like we'll put all the sources in the notes, that companies now are doing in-house influencers. Like you are part of
Yeah.
staff
Mhm.
so that you don't have to exactly like ship, send, have like PR product that is far more wasteful. And like
Yeah.
that money is being sent doing that to a bunch of different folks, right? Instead of just having an influencer team, which I find kind of interesting because it's like, who owns the content then? Like, I don't know. That's like a whole other thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's quite wasteful. I also think if we talk about like, I think I've seen a lot of social content about folks trying to become influencers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
like how to or like their journey on their way there.
yeah, like how to's, education, and their journey on their way there.
You know
And
what my favorite thing I see is? How I got XYZ amount of followers in 3 days by talking about how they have XYZ amount of follow. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it's like the math doesn't math out on that guy.
no,
Like,
no,
what are you talking about?
yeah, yeah,
How
yeah,
to
yeah.
grow your account. And you're just talking about, like, you've not actually done that in any kind of organic or interesting way. You're just
No.
saying, follow me.
Yes. It's
What?
It's bizarre. It's
What?
bizarre. Or like, yeah, it's like the same thing as like, posting your income for the month or whatever, right? It's like the
Yes.
same stupid, like whatever.
Mhm.
But I think something I've been following 2 Black influencers in New York, women, and it's like everything, right? It's like everything. Like you have to have a certain level of privilege, comfort, money, etc., to even be able to enter the scheme
Yeah.
of
I think
influencing. You know what I mean?
it's backwards. It's not I don't become an influencer to get rich. You are rich and then can become an influencer. Right?
Exactly.
Like, oh,
Exactly.
here's my and I'm sure we'll talk about de-influencing in a second, but it's like, oh, here's my, trip to blah, like we don't want to, most of media is not filled with like our everyday lives. I
No.
think there are times when that becomes,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything is a response to everything else that's going on in the world, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
in okay, I really love David Farrier's podcast. I really highly recommend Webworm if people don't like read and listen at all, but he just had the author of John Dies at the End. Can't remember his name now.
Mm.
But they were talking about like these like technology and ads and the way that we move like live in the world are responses to things, right? So like
Yes.
the response, and like we move at such a faster pace right now just because of the way that technology works, and like technology hasn't given us time to catch up yet. Like technology used to move so much slower, so like any big change that has come, any big change in the way we communicate has caused a lot of upheaval, right? Like the printing press, for example. All of a sudden we're able to like disseminate information, like educate people. Turmoil, social turmoil in the 60s, all of a sudden, 10 years before that in the 50s, television arrived. Like there's been times, every time there's like a big communication change. So it's
Yeah.
just like our entertainment and like what we watch and consume is informed by those things. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
I think and what I find really interesting is like, yes, I totally agree. You are rich, so
Mhm.
therefore you become an influencer. You have to have
Yeah.
a certain level of quote unquote of what marketing has deemed as interesting or monetizable or whatever
Trendy,
in your life.
luxurious,
Luxury, yes. And
clean.
yes. Yes.
Like your house
Consistent.
is clean.
Consistent. Like you want to talk about privilege of like time. Like there's
Yeah.
just so many like, right? And
Yeah.
and these two influencers that I have been following really speak to the like inequity
Yeah.
of it and how like no, actually not anybody can just easily do
Yeah.
this, and so that's why they're all that shit that's like how I grew
Yeah.
my followers and whatever is like
Yeah.
literal crap,
It's just
right? It's
insanity.
just
Yeah.
insanity, like it's not real. I'll drop the handles below, but I want to say
I was gonna
someone.
say your friend Leah, I love, she's a great follow.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and she's been doing something similar right
Yeah,
now as
Leah's
well.
great. And Leah, exactly. That's also something I find really fascinating is like, like if you are like hustling, if you are poor,
Yeah.
if you have a full-time job, whatever, like your niche or your
Mhm.
like theme or whatever then becomes about
Yeah.
how you're poor.
I'm poor. Well, and
Like,
like I think we're so fucked up by looking at this shit all of the time that
yeah,
like what we perceive as normal is so insane. Like I have to really remind myself a lot of the time that like I have a nice as fuck life. Like
yeah.
I live in an apartment. I with relative security because I'm a renter. So,
Hmm.
whatever. A side note, pisses me off when people talk about buying a house as like an investment only thing. I'm like, until you've been evicted multiple times in your life,
Stop
fuck you.
talking.
Anyway, um, anyway, I don't know because I'm so deluded by looking at what is on my screen all the time, and like I think I
Yeah.
mentioned this to you. I had to like turn off some of my reality TV stuff lately because like the people's faces are so symmetrical. It was like making me think thoughts that I do not believe,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in actual conflict with my values, and made me feel shit horrible about myself.
Hmm.
And like only at the age of like 30 can I start to like recognize when that's happening. I cannot imagine what it's like to be a young person. Oh, this is what I was going to say earlier.
Yeah.
Because these things move so fast, I don't actually think we have an understanding of how they affect us.
No.
Right. And so I have to like remind myself when I walk into my living room and I'm like, ugh, my house is disgusting. There's crap everywhere. It's horrible. I wish the walls weren't this color. Like all this stuff. I'm like, okay, actually, like I'm rich. Like
Hmm.
I have a house. I have a couch. I can watch
Hmm.
TV. I have a phone.
Yeah.
Like what's that stat? Like I'm already in the 1%. Obviously, we live in like really stratified, horrible class
Right.
shit, but
Right.
like I won the lottery of life
Yes.
already. So like
Yeah.
relax me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think. that's what's interesting, right? Is like so someone like Leah or like any of our thrifting girls, right, that are
Mhm.
thrifting, I think it's just like it's so interesting because you're like, hey, here's content on how to like hack the system
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like what I really appreciate about Leah's stuff is that Leah is just about expression really and
Yeah.
like putting together outfits.
Yeah.
Cause like now we've got thrifting girls that are like providing services for folks to thrift, which I find interesting. Like I'll go to a thrift store and I'll get like a bundle of clothes for you.
Mm,
And it's like, okay, but then aren't you just shopping? Like, aren't you just doing the thing that you're trying to avoid
that's
of like
funny. Yeah,
consuming? Do you
excess,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And like excess by like doing that for other people? Like, I don't know. It's it's
I know.
it's
Well,
complicated.
a lot of people, but I think, like, consumerism gets really tied up in it, right? Like,
Right, exactly.
I I'm gonna wreck a bunch of sponsorship opportunities for us right now. Like, anything, any subscription thing, like, I do not know how that became the norm of, like, it's
Mm,
so much less wasteful. We'll just ship you crap that you don't need every 3 months, you know?
yeah.
Like, as if that, like, ecological footprint is better than, like, walking down to a damn store. The Always pan can eat my ass.
Yes.
Like, the like, buying things you do not need, and I think a lot of it has to do with, like, housing is so expensive. The rest of life is so expensive. Let me buy this thing, you know?
Yeah.
Let me buy all of these things but own nothing, you
Yeah.
know? And these things are crap. They break
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
What's the suitcase?
Away.
Away. The Away suitcase?
Mhm.
Oh, man, the amount of friends I have that, like, bought that suitcase and it's, like, busted wide open on the carousel
Yeah. Yeah.
is a bummer. Like,
Yeah.
I just it makes me feel kookalini crazy. I mean, we were antiquing the other day, and the amount of stuff that is in these antique houses. Oh, the lamps. Jacqueline got these amazing lamps.
This is
They're
my
amazing.
lamps. They're amazing. I
They're so
love them.
gorgeous.
I'm obsessed
But,
with them.
like, why are we allowed to make more stuff when all of this stuff is here in this warehouse? There's, like, a I think that we probably walked by
Oh,
hundreds of cast iron pans. You do not need a new
hundreds.
cast iron pan. You do not
No.
need a new anything. A
No.
whisk, a fucking wooden spoon. Like, I just
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
what?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I
So
went
I
on a rant.
think in this like, right? Like in this we're talking about this like movement of like, okay, we don't need as much stuff. There's this like response to selling things online, de-influencing,
Mhm.
which is like
"Hey,
the
guy, that's just life." "Hey, buddy, that's just living life."
the meta of de-influencing is like so crazy to me. Like I will see a de-influencing video and I'll be like, okay, you know how everyone like you know how we get comments on the podcast all the time that are like, is this
Is this
making
fake?
fun of a podcast? Like
Is
this
this
is
an SNL
fake?
skit?
Is this like yeah. I feel that way about like de-influencing. I'm like, this
Yeah,
isn't real, right? Like this is a joke, right?
yeah.
Like this is not like and because my brain does not want to, my nervous system maybe does not want to admit that we need that, right?
Mhm.
Like that we
Mm.
need on the app people telling us this isn't real. You know what I mean? Like if
Well, I think some of it a lot of the de-influencing stuff is just people, like, living. You know what I mean? Like,
mm,
you're just being normal.
mhm,
It's not am I making sense?
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Like these videos, okay, so like ugly kitchen, right, is a huge
Mhm,
one. Like
mhm.
here's my brown
Same.
cabinets, you know, here's my
Renter
this and that.
tiles, gray kitchen. I
Gray
hate my
kitchen.
kitchen,
Yeah,
but I
here's
have a kitchen, so I should get over myself, you know?
but it's like, okay, and like maybe it's because I don't sometimes I think my media literacy is like better because I'm not on the internet that much. Like, do you know what I'm like because I approach
Well, I
everything from
think,
a
like,
sense of go
I
ahead.
think people forget that media literacy was just English class. Like,
Yes.
I keep hearing this conversation all the time about, like was I talking to you about this? Where people are like, why aren't we taught media literacy in school? Like, why aren't we learning
Mm,
about this more? I'm like, that is books, my guy.
yeah.
Like, that is Shakespeare. Like, talking about your understanding of media is
Mm-hmm.
media literacy. And like, it's our jobs to have, what's the word?
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking, like,
Yeah.
all of the time. You should have that all of the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, obviously, social media was created for us to not be critically thinking, right? Like
Yeah.
it's challenging
It's a
that.
slot machine.
It's a slot machine. So part of me
Mhm.
just goes like with the de-influencing thing, I'm like, okay, can we just like let this be a slot machine? Like why are you know what I like it's like
Yeah,
you're
I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be 20 something and have
yeah.
grown up with this stuff, right? I think that's part of, like, we're old. We're
Yeah,
old
we
on the
are.
internet now.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the internet's, if you think TikTok is the new thing, like, y- you're out, you
Mm,
know?
mhm.
Like, the kids have moved on, and if you can't keep up with this stuff or the understanding, I mean, I think about that in just, my friends with kids that are like kind of
Yeah.
8 plus, like younger, even younger, 3 plus, like they know how to use the iPad better than their parents do. So how on planet Earth can you have a conversation with them about media literacy or understanding, or
Navigating
you're
the
a
internet. Yeah, yeah.
12-year-old girl and you have a video go viral all of a sudden, and like, how do you explain to your daughter, that like hundreds and thousands of people are looking at your body, and like not all of those comments are okay, and like
Mhm.
you're famous but for the next, what's the Andy Warhol quote, 15 minutes,
15.
right? Okay, we're being downers in classic Do You Ever fashion.
Here
I am wondering, oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, 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 no. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think we're
I'm
gonna ask the
wondering
same
what
thing.
you do, because I agree. Like, the de-influencing thing is like a little bit kookalini, but also like we got to check ourselves
Right.
on the slot machine. Something I've been doing personally is I love to follow, and like I've been slowly making my way unfollowing as people come up, unfollowing people with perfect symmetrical faces and lives. It really stresses me out. I got to
Mm,
stop consuming that. And
mm.
following women over the age of 50,
Yes.
60.
Yes.
That's
I
real
agree.
important, my guys.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Mhm.
That's been like that's my de-influencing without, I'm sure they're still selling my stuff. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'll look at your beautiful, beautiful lives, but like, I don't know.
I think this kind of brings up this thing, right, of like, you came here, you're actively consuming the thing, you have a responsibility to make sure that you don't go a little cuccolini on the app, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, which is in and of itself, it's like critical thinking. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, I think I do a couple of things.
Hmm.
The first thing I do is most of the time I'm looking at Instagram on my computer. I don't look
Yeah.
at Instagram on my phone really
Yeah.
unless
Same.
we're doing work,
Yeah.
right?
I will take Instagram on and off of my phone
Yeah.
pretty frequently
Yeah.
because, oh, can I scroll? And do I
Yeah.
love it?
Yeah. Okay, so this is an interesting kind of thing about is the influencer dead because I think as people are starting to develop more like healthy quote unquote I hate that it's like not even we shouldn't even say healthy habits because it shouldn't exist at all, right? But like you're saying, like ways to kind of consume content that is gonna protect you a little bit. And I think that is affecting, right, like how well influencers can sell
Mm-hmm.
because people are not on their phones as much anymore. People are having boundaries around how they're looking at social media. People are not
Yeah.
letting their you know what I mean, kids
Yeah.
have phones.
Yeah.
I think there is going to
Oh,
be
the way I
this.
would be insane about that shit as a parent,
Yeah.
I would be full, and I'll fuck them up in the other direction, and I do not give a shit.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we're going to have a huge swing like the other way for sure.
Your friend Paul asked me a really great shout out, Paul. Just by the way, on the pod, shout out Paul.
Paul's a
Paul
great
asked me,
follow if you want to talk
Paul's a
about
great follow.
social. Yeah.
Paul's a great follow. Um, we should drop Paul's Twitter.
Yes.
Um, but Paul had asked me when we were in Chicago months and months and months ago. He was like, "Do you think that like there can be another way of doing this or something like that?" Like, that was his question, and I was
Mhm.
like, I think kids now are so overwhelmed by the amount of opportunities by it. I mean, to me, it's kind of like asking the question of like, can we reform police? You know, like if it's
Mm,
rotten at the root,
yeah.
then I think like there's only the option to like rebuild.
Yeah, like totally reject and
Yeah.
rebuild. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's something I do. I my computer, I try to have times during the day. I try to also follow. Okay, so this is really getting into like the meat of the thing that I would love for us to talk about, which is art. So
Mm-hmm.
like I
It's fine. It is what it is. We're just girls with sounds. De-influencing. Hey guys, I'm in my fucking bed because my damn boyfriend's home, and
yeah.
Jacqueline, I don't even know where you are, in just a hole somewhere with the dog making sounds. All right, like perfection makes me fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
no, exactly. Showing up messy, like, okay, which I also think is kind of interesting because, like, this is a very interesting conversation for us to be having because, like, we
It's
make
meta. I make
content,
content.
you
I mean,
know?
like I said,
Yeah,
I make money not off of Instagram, but part of our income is
yeah,
generated by the shit that we post there. And
yeah.
so, to your point, when people are getting irritated about like, or not even the inverse of that, I'm off my phone less. When people say things like the algorithm is punishing me and like, I don't want to blah, 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 I'm like, or like, you know, the algorithm is, what do people say? The algorithm is punishing me, engagement's low, I'm
Yeah,
not getting enough, all
right.
of, you know, the god-sized hole in my heart is being needs to be filled by these likes and no one's giving it to me. I'm like, what are you doing with your phone at 7 p.m.? Are you checking it across the room? You know,
Mhm.
do you hate that thing as well? Is this black mirror in your pocket ruling your life and you
Yeah,
don't like it?
yeah.
Like, give me a break. Hello.
That's how everybody feels.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we need to make the exception for you and your little post about brunch. Fuck off.
No. No. And I think, okay, so, oh,
Art.
art. Yes. I think I follow artists,
Mhm.
and that in and of itself is a journey. I try to follow folks that like are very like just posting about their work, you
Mhm.
know? Um, but I think what gets complicated, and we talk to artists about this all the time, right? Is this idea of
Mhm.
like creating your art and then like having to in quotes
Mhm.
create
Content.
content to
Content.
sell your art or your process or your whatever, right?
Yeah.
To be an artist now in a lot of ways is to be a content creator,
Yeah.
you know? And that's a mind, like that's a whole thing. I think what I
I
try
don't
to go ahead.
I don't think that's new.
No.
Like it I hear like artists, guys, I hear you. I think complaining about these things, and I feel this way about like most of technology. Complaining about our relationship to these things as if they're new is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. You are not special. The vehicle in which you do something is maybe important, but like, yeah, Leonardo da Vinci was running around town schmoozing guys. Like, yeah, he was an influencer. That's like what salons were.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Right. No, we always had to figure out a way to sell the work, right? Or
Yeah.
to get somebody to buy it or to be a patron or to support,
Yeah.
right? Or to send money,
And
to the
I
Venmo,
argue,
whatever.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of the best times to be alive to be an artist because you can be an artist and you don't need a patron.
Yeah.
You can be an artist and you don't need to know a noble. You
Yes,
know, you don't need
exactly.
to get into court.
Yeah.
Um,
I think what I try to do and like make a differentiation around, and you talk about this a lot, is like, am I following this artist to see the work that they're producing, or am I
mhm,
following this artist for the content they make, which are two
mhm,
different things,
mhm,
right? And so
mhm.
when you say, I'd love to talk about this, when you say, Phoebe, art isn't content and content isn't art, what do you mean when you say that?
They're different. I mean, okay, art's like ultimately about audience, right? They're
Hmm.
different audiences. So, you know, and maybe the audience is you, right? But like don't confuse the two. And I think you'll get a lot more peace in your mind's eye. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? Am I making enough
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Like I think you can make things from your art to promote your work, which is a lot of what we do, but like it has to be a separate thing. And like content, like art actually is for you. Art is for your audience. Content is lines the pockets of a bunch of two rich white guys.
Yeah.
Like not two, like too
Many.
many.
Yeah. Too many. Yeah.
Too rich.
Mm-hmm.
White guys. So like I think to confuse the two in your brain is you're going to feel really crap about your art really fast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think, and the way that I think that people do this, there's a few different examples of people that do this really well. I think, or like what I'm always looking for when I'm looking at following an artist is I'm looking for, okay, are they like making and showing me what they're making?
Mhm.
That's important. And then if they are making content, like how is it kind of contributing to what it is that they're trying to do? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I'm not really interested in, oh, somebody bought my $30,000 painting and now I'm sitting in an island somewhere. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I used to
I'm
follow a couple of artists like that. Actually, people would send me, do you know Ashley Longshore? Do you know her, the artist
no.
at all? You probably would recognize her work.
Mm-hmm.
She's made a living out of doing that very specifically on Instagram. Like she
Yeah.
sells to celebrities
Mm-hmm.
now. Um, what's her name? Rachel Rogers just posted a photo of her work the other day, right?
Mm.
Which props to Ashley Longshore. Like, get your bag.
Yeah.
I also just think like for the sake of our own brains,
Yeah.
like I can't engage with that.
Yeah, I think like that's what I'm saying. Like, look, it's a hellscape out here. We say this every freaking episode. Like, we're all just trying to
It's
survive. You know what I'm
actually
saying?
what this podcast is about.
Exactly. But for me to be able to continue to write, right, or for me to be able to continue to try to be an artist in the world, I have to just be
Mhm.
sensitive about what I'm consuming in this app,
Yeah.
right? And so I
Yeah.
have to be able to like find artists that I feel like they have their practice, they have their work, I'm inspired by that, and then they're contributing in some other way. For example, Maurice's Capitalism Doesn't Care About Your Creativity.
So good. Yeah.
Perfect example of that, right?
Yeah.
Like Maurice clearly has a practice, is a floral
Over
artist
here. Yeah.
over here and would
Yeah.
be doing it even if they
Yeah.
didn't make all of this other series of work. And
Yeah.
it has integrated that in a really kind of cool way.
Yeah.
It's so funny that we're talking about Maurice. You want to talk about like having a bunch of stuff.
Truly.
That man has so much stuff and probably gets stuff sent to them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just think there's like, I don't know, kind of interesting ways to present yourself as an artist online. And I think you're right. Like if the practice doesn't exist yet, if the work doesn't exist yet, then like don't even start to worry
No.
about the content and the marketing
And
of it all.
ultimately that is sharing your work. And I am never, I mean, if this is like resonates with you, but I think a lot of people feel the need to like share their process
Mm-hmm.
online and get really stressed out by that. And it's like, I don't know. I just like, especially with artists, I think people feel like they have to participate on a lot of stuff. And I just think like, especially with art is an opt-in. Art is about freedom. Art is about liberation. Art is about expression. Art is about connection. And like, if you all of the sudden feel trapped in this box of I have to share this thing in this very specific way, like you're just taking the why and the purpose and the bravery and the amount of effort that it takes to get to that point of even creating something, like you may as well not even do it. You know what I mean? If all of the shoulds come like
Yeah.
crashing around it.
Yeah. Exactly. I think I'm also most interested in artists that are using social as a tool,
Mhm.
not as a tool for sharing or for like
Yeah.
marketing
Yeah.
so much, but literally as a tool in practice,
Yeah.
right? Or as a
Like
tool
to create.
to create.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
I want to shout out two people that I think two artists that I think do a really great job. Hillary, Hey Hills. I'm going to put all of these people. Her reels are so fucking funny. She does great outfits. We're talking a lot about like fashion and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
today because I think that's like a really great place of creativity. Yeah, Hey Hills. online. She's a great sewist. And my friend Dana, who's Wild Garden Art, wildgarden.art.
Yes.
She is hilarious. She does
Yeah.
some really great stuff as well. So I don't know. Like, if you don't like what people are doing, one, unfollow them. Two, like, they're, I don't know, get weird. Like, that's literally Jacqueline and I had to pledge to each other. Hey, you want to talk about being weird for a second? Jacqueline had to run around in a room in Hudson last week, spinning around in circles, screaming, "We pledged to the weirdest possible option." And I just think like that is always going to be the place of like, I don't know, cool,
Yeah.
fun,
Fun.
actually fun.
Yeah.
I get more cringed out every time I participate in a trend than I do being like a psychopath. Like this
Yeah.
podcast episode.
Yeah, totally. I think totally. And then I also think great, like, okay, again, like I think it's just this matter of kind of differentiating. Like we're always kind of talking about things as if they're all the same thing and they're not.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're going to play the game of social media in order to market something, in order
Yeah.
to support your business, cool. But like be okay with that decision and
Yeah.
don't call it art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, or, you know, if you want to like challenge social media and you want to use social media in some kind of interesting way in order to
Mhm.
support your practice, okay, cool. But then like don't call that marketing or a
Mhm.
sales tactic, call that art.
Mhm.
Like I just think it's these are not the same thing and we get them
Mhm.
all confused, you know?
Yeah.
Miranda July is a beautiful example of somebody
Great.
who uses social media to make art, you know,
Yeah.
and is also then marketing, oh,
Yeah.
my new book has come out or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I think, I don't know if we answered the question. And once again,
What is the question? Are influencers dead?
do we think influencers are dead?
No, but I don't think that this can like the way in which they are now, I don't think can possibly go on for much longer.
I don't
It's
think so
already
either.
like, crumbling.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
already are seeing the cracks.
I think we're seeing the cracks. I think we're going to swing like what we realized, you know what I mean? Like when we were on
Yes.
retreat and reading these magazines from the
Oh my God.
80s, you know, like just how conservative and like, and what's the word? Oh
Like restricted women
yeah.
are now. I know. It was like it really put me in a real mood.
Mhm.
Even watching Downton right now, Downton again,
Yeah.
the things that women like, yeah, I feel like we're in a real bad time.
I mean, I think that's yeah. I think it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Like PC, maybe that's the thing. Like I don't know, like what
Mhm.
um it's like everybody's so terrified to say anything anymore
Yeah, so they just say nothing
that
and
they
they
say
stand there.
nothing. Yeah, exactly. Or they don't write the essay or they don't post the thing, right? Or they don't whatever because they're terrified.
Yeah.
Um I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think influencing is going to be not a thing anymore. I also think I don't know, it feels like the jig is up, right?
Yeah,
Like everybody
totally.
knows,
That's what I
you
mean
know?
as it
Yeah.
is though. Like I think if,
Yeah.
influencing is a Shakespearean concept, I don't think it's going anywhere, but I think the way in which we relate to it, it can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like I believe too hard in change and liberation for anything for me to think that anything couldn't not change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
historically it never really goes well
No, no, no.
for those people. So,
Yeah.
and I just
Yeah.
believe too hard in that.
I think you say this all the time. It's like if you're an artist and you're conflicted about social media, right? Like, what does it look like for you to talk about your work, champion yourself, not through a phone first, like around the
Sure.
dinner table, like
Yeah.
talking to the post office guy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and like worry about the phone. I think we're ultimately what we're saying is like influencing is probably dying. So if you're an artist, like worry about your phone last. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And like ultimately it's your job. Like no one's going to care more about your art as
yeah.
much as you do.
Yeah.
So, like, why not, like, care so hard? It's, like, probably cringe,
Mhm.
you know? And I don't care if you do it on the phone or not, but, like, only you can care about you as much as you want.
Right. Yeah. Mm.
It's very RuPaul.
Mhm. We talk to makers, we talk to artists, we talk to people who are online, deeply online, not online. You know, we talk to all different types of people all day that
Deeply online.
want to market themselves or make something and show the world, right? And I something that happens so fast, I think, with when we're talking to artists is like our big ideas get so overwhelming or confusing because we think about really quickly, okay, how am I going to market this thing? How am I
Yeah.
going to put this on my
Yeah.
phone? Right? Like, how is it going to
Yeah.
translate to social
And,
media?
like, how I think it's, like, part of it's, like, the precious it's so big and overwhelming, and it could possibly change everything in my life, which is, like, yeah, true.
Yeah,
That's
good.
overwhelming. That's overwhelming and scary and weird.
But the answers are not going to be found in like going to your phone, right? Like
No.
we skip, we go from like big idea that we're falling asleep at night thinking about that we really believe in to
Yeah.
like perfectly carouseled Instagram post to sell the thing. And like there's a
Yeah.
whole journey in between there that has
Yeah.
to be discovered in
Yeah.
order to make an idea come to life and
Yeah.
work in the world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that is a huge thing that we come up against all of the time and is part and is so integral to the work that we do with artists and makers and creatives. And so we've created studio sprints for this reason. Like
Yeah.
you want to, you know, that this thing could be literally, like you were saying, life changing, game changing, whatever that is. But the how to go about it, the way, the analysis paralysis, the like way to get from A to Z is like so difficult to even think
Yeah.
about or to look at. And so you just freeze, you just don't do anything because you don't
Mhm.
understand how this is going to be put into like a bite-sizable Instagram post, you know? I think that that is where that's like what we enter the studio to do together is to like go
Mhm.
on a journey together to help you actually make not only the thing, not only the big idea, not only like the actual like thing you want to make in the world, but then like how do you market it? How do you talk about it in a way that
Yeah.
doesn't make you want to throw up or
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a perfectly consumable Instagram carousel,
Yeah.
right?
And,
Um
like, I think what I think you and I are really good at, and what the people say after working with us is like, "Oh, actually, there is another way, and I found it. Like, I found the way for me. Like, not the way that everybody is on my phone is telling me to do. Like, I
mhm.
found the way that I want to do it. I found the way I want to make. I found like what's fun and cool and interesting and like radical to me.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Otherwise, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing? Literally, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I think the studio sprint is also effective because it's like you get like mad scientist vibes with us for
Mhm.
6 hours, right? Like in like the day, but then you have support after that too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Which is another thing that happens is like even if you go like wild in your studio one day making the thing,
Truly,
you then
truly.
have like the community afterward to say, okay, remember those 6 hours that you spent working on this thing? Like, where is it? Like, we want to see
Yeah.
it. It can be really effective. Yeah.
And, like, to keep that energy going, because like, I love to go crazy in my studio. One of my
Yeah.
all-time favorite passion projects. I think we can all go crazy in our studio. You know, ideas are like farts, blah, blah, blah. Everyone has
Hmm.
them. But, like, how do we keep going is, like, the real question, and I think I don't know, I just, like and I love getting in the studio with artists, and I love hearing their weird shit, and I love watching it come to life,
Yeah.
um, afterwards.
Yep.
So
So, like, if you're an artist,
I literally said to Simon this morning, I was like, "You know what one of the crappiest parts of my job is I get to read and listen to and consume so much great art with the artists that we work with, and I can't fucking say shit about it to
I know
anybody until it's out in the world." Like, it's a plague. It sucks.
it
Like,
is.
I, like, wanted to tell him about a script that I had read, and I, like, I'll tell you, Jacqueline, I wanted to sing, but I was like, "I won't."
No,
Like, I wanted to sing a song that I heard, and I can't do
no,
that.
no, you can't do that. No, you
So,
can't do that.
anyway.
If you are making anything that you want, like, launched, produced, sold, etc., like, and it's a big idea and you want, you know, two artists behind you getting it out into the world, if you're craving kind of like a
2 artists that have done
creative.
a lot of this too.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yes.
We do this all day.
Yes. If you're craving kind of a kickstart or like a boost or like a bully or like cheerleading, this is really good space for you. And if you know, I think the biggest thing is like if you know that like the recipe of what you need is like accountability plus like hands and brains of other people.
Yeah.
And if you know that if you just concentrate a little bit of time on this big idea, that it could create a ripple effect. We all know what those ideas are. We all know what they are. Like the ones that are like, okay, this could actually do something for me.
Yeah. The thing that's keeping you up at night.
Yeah, exactly. This is that like studio sprints are for you. Welcome. Come into the studio. We would love to work with you. We would love to not be able to talk to the people about the thing until you create it. And put it
I
in the
would
world.
love to be plagued by, I mean,
more
I
art.
complain, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like when it is come out, I get to say all the time, I knew about it first.
Exactly.
I've known about it for so long.
I've known about it for so long.
And that's the other thing about making stuff, you know, it's a fucking journey and we need help on the way there. So if, you know, it's Jacqueline and I love that. Also, if you just want to tell me what you're making, I'd love to hear about it. I really do.
Yeah, of course.
It makes me really excited. Okay, well, I think that's it for us.
We'll see you all the places now, including Substack.
Yes,
tell us what you're making in the comments. Let's go. I want to chat with you.
I guess we can do that. Okay.
That's it.
I think that's it from us. Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like, a podcast from Do You Ever Media.
Follow this chaos wherever you get your pods.
Our artwork is by Simon Pang.
You can write us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com.
Learn more about our work at doyouevermedia.com.
Or by following us at Do You Ever Media.
Okay, bye!
Okay, bye!